It's amazing, G. Scott, how everybody overreads things and they try to put more into it. All right, they were the first team and the only team to reach out and have Colin Kaepernick in for a visit. They like him. Pete Carroll respects him. The players in the locker room like him. And so then you make an organizational decision. Is this the right fit at backup quarterback? And, obviously we're not privy to the meetings. We're not privy to how the conversation goes. I mean, you go to Colin, are you going to accept being a backup? Oh, yeah, I'm going to be fine with that. Okay. And then you ask him some questions. And, well, how much do you think you're going to miss starting, realizing he may not get on the field for a play? You evaluate it. You put it in perspective as, okay, there'll be some backlash. There'll be this and this and this. And, you don't even get to the point where you make him an offer. So then you say, all right, let's go to the second option. We'll go to Austin Davis, sign him for the $855,000, and that's it.
Haven't been this mad since that one article came out about Michael Bennett being immature, JC.
Oh, so you're mad on this one?
Oh, I'm so mad. So mad. Man, this is a message to Shannon Sharp and everybody else who thinks that they understand and know what goes on from states away, what goes on here in Renton, Washington at the VMAC. Hey, man, why would they bring Colin Kaepernick in then? Well, that would be my question that I want everybody to ask themselves. What gain do the Seahawks get by bringing in Colin Kaepernick? Oh, hey, we don't plan on signing him. We're just going to bring him in. Why? Because maybe you guys think the Seahawks need more media attention? You talk about, John, the offseason has been going so fast. You want to know why? Mm-hmm. Because we've been entertained. We've been entertained with all of the stories that have been going on this offseason, and that's why it continues to go so fast. And I was kind of thinking about this when it comes to this Seahawks team and bringing them in. You mentioned something. There's only been one team that brought Colin Kaepernick in, and that was the Seahawks. Just because they brought him in, that doesn't mean they're going to sign him. Hey, they brought in Adrian Peterson. Guess what? They didn't sign him. He's going to be a starter. And then another thing, JC, that I don't like how they're taking Coach Pete Carroll's words and talking about him being a starter. So if Pete Carroll gives an opinion saying, hey, I think he's a starter, what does that mean? I'm sure he thinks that Adrian Peterson is a starter, and they didn't keep him here either, JC. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this little deal – it's got me really mad, man, because I don't want any context out there about this thing. Hey, there's enough problems going on out with the media is concerned as far as stories being talked about. Hey, John, on Friday, let me ask you this. You were there.
Yeah.
Most of the questions that Pete Carroll had to answer were about what, John?
They were about the article that Seth Wickersham wrote about the Seahawks and the things going on in the locker room and, the disappointments, I guess, it's like, is Russell Wilson being treated differently than everybody else? All the questions that have been out there, and he was able to stand up there and answer them, do a good job of trying to answer the questions and, and then try to put it behind.
And I'm glad,
basically said it's not an issue right now.
I'm glad you brought that up, John. I'm so glad you said that, because if Pete Carroll is on Friday, still answering questions about the article that just recently came out a couple weeks ago about something that spanned over 4 years. Mm-hmm. But Pete Carroll is answering questions about that on Friday. Let me ask everybody else. Do you really think that right now this team needs any more distractions or attention? Because he's answering questions about something that's not current day in the Seahawks locker room right now.
Well, Kevin, to that effect, I mean, this was the first chance since the article came out.
No,
it wasn't like this was a delayed reaction.
No. I'm agreeing with that. But but here's my point, John. My point is Pete Carroll is still having to answer questions about something that happened over the span of 4 years. Like he told everybody, right. It's old news. So then you bring in a Colin Kaepernick. Look, that doesn't mean just because they brought him in doesn't mean they didn't have any intention on signing him. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, but you sit there and you say, all right, let's weigh everything.
Yeah.
Let's look at the idea. All right, you got Colin here. It is going to have a public backlash. It could cause some issues in the locker room. Players seem to be fine. Pete respects him enough that, what's the negative of bringing him in? Well, I mean, there's no negative because it gives him at least a chance to say, hey, I'm still playing football here and I'm still interested in playing football. And so you sit there and you talk, and I think the big thing is, and sometimes, you try to read and overread into things. I mean, Pete Carroll saying that, hey, Colin Kaepernick's a starter. Now, Does that mean that he thinks that Kellen would not accept being a backup? Well, I mean, I think probably in the back of his mind from the conversation, there's probably some rationale that it says, you know what? Yeah, I think that he might have some difficulty listening to him answer the questions about, not being able to play because, whether he's hurt or not hurt, Russell Wilson's not coming off the field.
Somebody asked me yesterday, man, G, who's Austin Davis? I said he was a starting quarterback when they beat the Seahawks in October of 2014.